All right, hello again. Last week we talked a little bit about Abinadi and how a man named Alma heard his words and then had to run off because the wicked King Noah chased him off. This week we're going to follow Alma a little bit further. So he ended up by some waters named Mormon, and he started teaching the people about baptism. So we're going to tell a little bit more of that story. After Alma heard the words of Abinadi, he believed, and King Noah chased him off. Alma began to teach the people about Jesus Christ and the commandments and about what baptism means. He taught them that if people were willing to bear one another's burdens, that they may be light, if they were willing to mourn with those that mourn, if they were willing to comfort others, and if they were willing to stand as a witness of God at all times and in all things and all places, that they were ready to make a covenant to be baptized. So when we're baptized, we promise that we will do those things, that we will look out for one another, that we will be an example of Jesus Christ, and that we will be willing to bear one another's burdens and be there for each other. Well, after a time, they were found there, and they had to run even further into the wilderness. And there they lived peacefully for a little while. One day, the Lamanites found the people of Alma. The Lamanite king then made Amulon the ruler over Alma's people. Amulon was a Nephite and a wicked priest of King Noah. Amulon made Alma's people work very hard. They prayed for help, but Amulon said anyone caught praying would be killed. The people continued praying in their hearts. In answer to their prayers, the Lord said, "Lift up your heads and be of good comfort, for I know of the covenant which ye have made unto me. And I will covenant with my people and deliver them out of bondage. And I will also ease the burdens which are put upon your backs, that even you cannot feel them upon your backs, even while you are in bondage. And this will I do, that ye may stand as witnesses for me hereafter, and that ye may know of a surety that I, the Lord God, do visit my people in their afflictions." The Lord did as he said. He strengthened the people so that their work seemed easier. He did not deliver them out of bondage right away, but he did bear their burdens that they became light. The people were cheerful and patient while they waited for the Lord's promise of releasing them from bondage. After a time, God told Alma that he would help them escape from the Lamanites. During the night, the people gathered their food and animals. The next morning, God kept the Lamanites asleep while Alma and his people left the city. After traveling for 12 days, the people arrived at Zarahemla, where King Mosiah and his people welcomed them. When we are baptized, we covenant that we will stand as a witness of God at all times and in all things and in all places, and that we are willing to bear one another's burdens that they may be light. There are times, as in with the people of Alma, that we can't bear one another's burdens, and the Lord will actually step in and help make our burdens seem easier. He does not always deliver us from bondage right away. So as we stand as a witness and be what we believe, no matter what our circumstances are, we will be blessed, and eventually we will be delivered from bondage too. All right, so in the story we talked about how at baptism we stand as a witness at all times. And what we're doing when we stand as a witness is we're standing as a witness of what we believe in. So we're doing the same song as last week, I Will Be What I Believe, because that is what it means to stand as a witness. So the song, it starts out with, "Living in this world with change all around." So there's a picture of the earth, the world, living in this world with change all around. There's some coins, loose change, and they're writing out the word change. And then it goes to, "But with the prophet's words, I'll stand on solid ground." So here's our prophet, President Russell M. Nelson, and we're standing on solid ground. He's standing on a rock. He's looking at the ocean, which isn't solid, but he's standing on the rock, which is solid. So stand on solid ground. "Even though it's still hard with questions that arise, every day I will say." So even though it's still hard, this is the word hard, with questions, there's a question mark, questions that arise every day, a sun like at the beginning of a new day, every day I will say, and here's like a man speaking, so say. And then it's the chorus. And the chorus gives this example of people who stood as a witness. So this is Joseph Smith, who stood as a witness of what he believed in and what he saw. This was his first vision. So the first line is, I'll have faith like brother Joseph and the strength of the pioneers. So faith like brother Joseph, because when he prayed, he showed great faith. And then strength of the pioneers. The pioneers had to stand for what they believed in all the time. And they showed a lot of emotional strength, but also when they traveled the plains, they had to show physical strength. So this picture is the physical strength, them pulling the hand cart with everything they owned. And then it goes, I'll be brave as a stripling warrior and like Nephi persevere. So the stripling warriors decided that they would fight because their mothers taught them that the Lord would protect them if they were doing the right thing. So they stood for what they believed in. And then Nephi persevering. There is a story about Nephi, about him breaking his bow, but that didn't stop him. He persevered. He went to the Lord. He made a new bow, and he was an example. He stood as a witness to his family that he wouldn't lose his faith. Then, I will spread God's love to all I know and serve. So spread God's love. It's a heart made up of a lot of little hearts so that they can be spread out. And then serve. There's a chef dude, and he's serving food. So serve. And it goes, I will plead with my Father on my knees. I will be what I believe. So plead is another way of saying like pray, on my knees. And the be for I will be what I believe. The next verse is actually backwards. Next verse is, we'll spread the gospel wide throughout all the earth. So we spread the gospel by being missionaries. So we'll spread the gospel wide throughout all the earth. Picture the earth. With Jesus as our guide, we'll wield the sword of truth. So here's Jesus as our guide. Wield. Wield is another way for like saying like you're going to use it, hold it, wield the sword of truth. And then it goes to the, even though it's still hard with questions that arise every day, I will say, and then the chorus. So that part repeats, even though it's not officially the chorus yet. And then after that chorus, it goes straight into, we are as the army of Helaman. We have been taught in our youth. So we are as the army of Helaman. The stripling warriors were the army of Helaman. They just have like two different names. So we are as the army of Helaman. We have been taught. Here's a teacher. She's kind of pointing to something. So she's teaching some kids in their youth. And we will be the Lord's missionaries to bring the world his truth. So we will be the Lord's missionaries. So as missionaries, we share the news of from the Book of Mormon and Jesus Christ in general. But the Book of Mormon is what we have that's different than most people. So we will be the Lord's missionaries to bring the world his truth. We are as the army of Helaman, or I'll have faith like brother Joseph. So you'll follow one side of the screen depending on which part you choose to sing. And it'll sound amazing when we get back together, hearing both parts at the same time. And then at the end, we all together sing, I will be what I believe one last time. So here we go.